Welcome to JDM Vault, where revs hit red and legends are reborn. I'm RetroVault 4, and this is RetroWheelsVault, now unlocking the imports that change the game. Today we're stepping into the world of the 1971 Toyota Crown, a car that mixed luxury with discipline like a samurai in a tailored suit. It didn't just drive, it commanded the road with quiet confidence and unmistakable Japanese precision. Here's a fun nugget from the history books. The 4th generation Crown, our 1971 Star, was the first to proudly wear the Toyota name in Japan. Before this, Crowns were sold under the Toyopet banner, which, let's be honest, sounded more like a child stuffed animal than a serious luxury sedan. By dropping the Toyopet name, Toyota was saying, we're all grown up now, and the Crown became the poster child for that maturity. But the story doesn't end there. In Japan, this particular model earned a rather affectionate nickname, the whale or Kujira Crown, and honestly it's not hard to see why. With its flowing body lines, large grille, and smooth sweeping profile, the car looked like it could glide through city streets the same way a whale cuts through the ocean, gracefully and with quiet power. Some saw it as elegant, others thought it looked a bit poorly. Either way, it stood out. That nickname, Kujira, stuck for decades, a symbol of the Crown's combination of size, luxury, and dignity. It wasn't flashy or loud. It simply moved with presence. The Crown didn't need to shout to be noticed. It just let its design and heritage do the talking. The 1971 Toyota Crown strutted onto the scene wearing an all-new wardrobe, its 4th major redesign since its debut, and for the first time, it proudly carried the Toyota Crown name across the globe instead of hiding behind the Toyopet alias. This wasn't just a facelift, it was a full metamorphosis. The Crown looked like it had traded its factory jumpsuit for a tailored tuxedo, blending elegance with unmistakable authority. This generation brought a clear message from Toyota. Japan could do luxury and do it well. Trim levels like the Super Saloon, Super Deluxe, and Deluxe offered a gradual climb from refinement to royalty, with the Royal Saloon sitting at the throne, borrowing luxury touches straight from the opulent Toyota Century limousine. Under the hood, you had the choices worthy of any enthusiast appetite. The 2.0-liter 5R, the smooth 2-liter M6-cylinder, and the new 4M 2600 for those who liked their acceleration, served with a side of prestige. Even its headlights had an identity crisis of sorts. The Japanese versions got sleek rectangular halogens, while export models sported twin round eyes, giving each Crown its own international flair. It was Toyota's way of saying, we've arrived, and we're not leaving quietly. Under the hood, the 71 Crown was no slouch. It had an engine lineup that covered everything from smooth commuter to executive express. Starting things off was the 1994cc 5R inline-4, a tough little workhorse making 106 horsepower and 125 foot-pounds of torque. Sure, it wasn't going to melt your tires, but it delivered its power like a disciplined soldier. Predictable, steady, and unbothered by drama. Its 8-to-1 compression and 2-valve overhead valve design kept things simple and reliable, the mechanical equivalent of a wristwatch that never loses a tick. Next up was a 2-liter M inline-six, the more refined option for those who preferred silk over steel. With 110 to 115 horses galloping at 5,600 RPM and 116 foot-pounds of torque, it had just enough sophistication to make you forget you were driving something practical. And if you were lucky enough to get the twin SU carburetors on the MB or MD variants, you could push that power to 125 PS, an elegant little symphony at nearly 6,000 RPM. Then came the crown jewel, the 2.6-liter 4M inline-six, making up to 123 ponies and 141 foot-pounds of torque. It purred like a diplomat but could move like a bodyguard. Fed by an Aisin 2-barrel carb, it was Toyota's way of saying, luxury doesn't mean lazy. When it came to putting power to pavement, the 71 Toyota Crown didn't just settle for it moves. No, Toyota gave drivers options, each transmission tailored to how involved you wanted to be in the conversation between engine and asphalt. The base setup was the humble 3-speed manual, simple and sturdy, like the reliable coworker who never calls in sick but never volunteers for overtime either. It got the job done with that old school hands-on feel. Step up to the Aisin A1 W40 4-speed manual, and things got livelier. It was smoother, better spaced, and gave the Crown a bit more pep in its refined ride. The 5-speed Aisin A1 W50, however, was the enthusiast pick, the one for drivers who wanted to control the rhythm, not just follow it. Slotting that 5th gear felt like Toyota whispering, "Go ahead, stretch those legs." And for those who preferred to cruise instead of shift, there was the Aisin Warner 0371 3-speed automatic. It wasn't a rocket, but it shifted with the composure of a butler serving afternoon tea. Graceful and efficient. Altogether, the Crown's drivetrain setup gave drivers a rare choice. Roll your own gears like a racer, or glide through traffic like royalty. The 71 Crown didn't just look solid, it was solid, built on a steel unibody chassis that felt like it could survive a mild skirmish with a freight train. That foundation gave the Crown the kind of structural confidence usually reserved for brick buildings and stubborn grandfathers. Up front, Toyota fitted a coil-spring double wishbone independent suspension, the automotive equivalent of giving the car ballerina ankles. It soaked up bumps with grace while still keeping the Crown predictable, stable, and surprisingly agile for something that looked like a diplomatic envoy on wheels. Swing to the rear and things got delightfully old school. The Crown stuck with a live axle setup just like earlier generations, but Toyota sweetened the deal with trailing arms and coil springs. It was a classic combo, simple, durable, and about as drama-free as a car could get. Think of it as the automotive version of a dependable workhorse. Maybe not fancy, but unquestionably loyal. This blend of modernish sophistication up front and rugged tradition out back gave the Crown a unique personality. It handled like a gentleman but took hits like a brawler, proving you can mix refinement with practicality long before crossovers tried to claim that crown. Step inside the 1971 Toyota Crown, you'd swear you just entered Japan's idea of a rolling lounge. The interior wasn't about showing off, it was about showing up with quiet confidence. Toyota designed the cabin to make you forget you were in a machine built for motion. Plush materials, polished surfaces, and meticulous craftsmanship gave the Crown an air of understated elegance, like a luxury hotel lobby that just happened to have wheels. Comfort wasn't an afterthought, it was the mission. The push-button radio made tuning in your favorite station feel futuristic, while the heater ensured even the coldest mornings didn't rattle your composure. The top-tinted windscreen wasn't just a style choice. It subtly shielded passengers from glare, proving Toyota was already thinking about driver fatigue long before it was fashionable. Every inch of the interior blended function and finesse. Controls were logically placed, the gauges clear and purposeful. No clutter, no gimmicks, just clean precision. The Crown didn't shout luxury, it whispered it, with the calm assurance of a butler who's been doing his job for decades. In short, it was a car that didn't need to impress you with flash. It won you over with comfort, composure, and quiet sophistication. Underneath all that refinement, the Crown had a little secret. It knew how to keep its composure even when the road got tricky. It came standard with an open differential, dependable and predictable, perfect for smooth city driving and gentlemanly cruising. But for those who like to test the Crown's manners in tight corners or on slick pavement, Toyota offered an upgrade, a limited slip differential. That little mechanical marvel turned the car from a polite diplomat into a quick-thinking tactician, keeping both rear wheels engaged for better traction and control. In short, it was grace with a touch of grit. Very Crown indeed. The 1971 Toyota Crown wasn't some hulking land yacht, but it carried itself with the poise of one. Measuring 184.3 inches in length and 66.5 inches wide, it struck that sweet spot between elegance and practicality. Big enough to make a statement, small enough to fit into Tokyo traffic still, without folding in the mirrors. At 55.9 inches tall, it had a low, confident stance, giving it that business class on wheels look long before luxury sedans tried to copy the formula. The wheelbase stretched 105.9 inches, which gave the Crown a comfortable ride, long enough to smooth out the bumps, but short enough to keep it from feeling like a boat in corners. And with the curb weight hovering between 2,844 to 2,998 pounds, it had enough heft to feel solid without being sluggish. Think of it as the automotive equivalent of a well-built briefcase, sturdy, balanced, and refined in its purpose. Every proportion of the Crown was carefully measured to exude quiet confidence. It wasn't a brute or a show-off. It was the kind of car that spoke softly but carried a well-engineered chassis. In a world obsessed with flash, the Crown proved that perfect proportions can make just as powerful a statement. The 1971 Crown's strengths were the kind that didn't need a press conference. They spoke for themselves every time you turned the key. It was smooth, reliable, and built with the kind of precision that made even the Germans raise an eyebrow. The unibody chassis and double wishbone suspension gave it poise on the road, while the available 4M inline-six delivered just enough power to keep things interesting without ruining your fuel budget. Inside, it was comfortable, quiet, and well-appointed, offering an experience more executive lounge than daily commuter. It was the car for people who want to drive in style without needing to shout about it. Of course, no machine is perfect. The Crown's main weakness was that it sometimes acted too refined for its own good. The handling leaned more towards steady diplomat than spirited driver, and the live rear axle, while durable, wasn't doing any favors in terms of cornering agility. Maintenance could get a bit tricky outside Japan thanks to its relatively low export numbers and limited parts availability. But for what it was, a dependable, dignified cruiser with genuine class, the Crown nailed its mission. It didn't try to be everything, it just tried to be excellent at being itself. The 1971 Toyota Crown was proof that Japan didn't just want a seat at the global automotive table, they wanted the head of it. It combined grace, engineering discipline, and quiet strength in a way few cars of its era managed. The Crown wasn't built to race, it was built to reign. From its elegant design to its dependable engines and refined manners, it showed the world that luxury didn't need to come wrapped in chrome excess or V8 thunder. It just needed confidence, craftsmanship, and a dash of Toyota logic. Sure, it wasn't a burnout machine, but it didn't need to be. The Crown's appeal came from its poise, the way it carried itself, like a samurai in a suit, always calm, always ready. It stood as a bridge between Japan's meticulous precision and the luxury ambitions of the global market. So here's a question for you. Was the 1971 Toyota Crown the unsung hero of Japan's luxury legacy, or just a polite stepping stone toward greater things? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and join me next time as we dive into another piece of automotive history. Keep it boosted, keep it classic.